What's good, everyone? This is Mikerotastraphy here, and today I want to give you an aim guide video today. Today is going to be all about Magneto and what I personally do for my aim training as Magneto before I hop into competitive matches and Marvel Rivals. Last season, I did an aim guide for Squirrel Girl, teaching you guys how to do different tips and tricks and how you can create different trick shots with her acorns, because she is a projectile based hero, but she has a special trait where her acorns can bounce off walls, so that's how you can create different trick shots to trip up the enemy heroes, but still line your shots up so you can still do consistent damage even though it doesn't look like you are, and it doesn't make you look like you're just spamming your acorns and providing little value. With Magneto, he is also a projectile hero, but since his ammo doesn't bounce and he's considered a short to mid-range hero, we're going to just focus on talking about how you can practice your aim better against heroes who are mid to close range combat with you, and how you can learn to lead your shots. So during a team fight, whether you're bullying a support hero or someone who's just really low on health and you want to snipe them real fast before they get healed up or they escape, I'll tell you my best opinion on how you can best angle your shots that way, so you can secure those picks a lot more often and you don't feel like you're whiffing your shots all the time. So stick around. You can watch the gameplay video in the background. This just kind of shows what I've been doing. But in the meantime, grab a drink and let's dive into it. So the first thing that I do for my aim training as Magneto is, before I start my competitive matches, if I have ample time in my day to do a little bit of practice before I do competitive play, I would always jump into the practice range. I'd always go to this training room that you see here, and then I set up the settings as you see on the screen to always show that I'm playing with, I choose a Luna Snowbot, and I always keep the range to be attacking people close to mid-range. It brings that level of realness into this training mode. And also you can see the settings here that for Luna Snow, I do the movement to quick, because when I'm training, I want to see how often I can land my shots when she's going a little bit faster than usual. And the reason why I pick Luna Snow in particular is simply because of her passive. If she runs in a direction after a certain time, she gets a boost in movement speed. So you stack that on top of the modded movement speed you already get, it's going to make it a little bit harder for you to land your shots. But that's the whole point of this training session, is to see if you can get comfortable landing your shots by leading your cursor to where when you fire your primary fire or your mag cannon, the travel time between where you're at and Luna Snow, it'll travel just in time to hit her on impact, because that's what he is. You have to lead your shots to land on impact. Unlike Squirrel Girl, you can get away with it with AoE cleave damage. It's just that her damage potential is based off of distance, whereas Magneto, it's all about landing your shots. Even though his primary fire has a small bit of an AoE spell field, you can still whiff your shots if you're not leading correctly, or if you overextend accidentally and the blast radius doesn't hit your opponent. So doing it on this practice setting really forces you to track the enemy's movement on a faster rate. So when you are playing competitive, or when everything is set to normal and you are fighting a Luna Snow, you can track their movements a lot easier because the movement speed is on normal speed and you're already used to it, a more faster pace tracking session, if that makes sense. But this is what I do. And also, by doing it on this setting, you can adjust your sensitivity settings, whether you're playing on PC or you're playing on console, to adjust how comfortable you are with the sensitivity settings for Magneto to either turn around horizontally or vertically to lead your shots in time to when you shoot your mag cannon or your primary fire. You can make sure that you land your shots, because if someone's going really fast, then you need to adjust your sensitivity to match that speed. Or if you are finding yourself whiffing your shots because you're always shooting where they're at, not where they're going to be, then you need to increase your sensitivity to match the speed a lot better. So then when you're adjusting your cursor, or when you flick the joystick or whatever, you'll have a better chance of leading that projectile to hit your opponent more consistently. And this is how you can naturally improve your accuracy before you jump into a competitive ranked match. So I do this every time before I jump into competitive rank matches, and I do this for about 20 minutes. Now, for most people, if you really don't have time in a day to practice for 20 minutes before you jump into rank comp, then just doing it for 5 minutes each and every day, or each and every time you hop on this game and you start doing competitive rank matches, I'll guarantee you'll start to see improvement, not only on how well you can adjust your aim, but in your eyesight, because you're actively training your eye to track the enemy's movement within a certain distance. So like, for instance, if you see an Iron Man way far away and he's shooting at your allies, but you see a Luna Snow that is mid to close range from you, your eye movement will better track the Luna Snow than the Iron Man who is far away. Even though you can definitely cast your shield or your bubble to block Iron Man's attacks, you can't actively poke that Iron Man down to the ground because he's too far away from you. But you see a Luna Snow who's a lot closer to you, and your eye can make that quick adjustment and that quick judgment call that it's within close range for me, I'm gonna take my shot. But then by muscle memory, you'll also learn to lead your cursor to where you think the opponent's gonna move to before you fire your primary fire or your mag cannon, and you'll land your hits against Luna Snow. Now, if you see Iron Man about to pop his ult way far away, and you have your ultimate, well, by all means, just track that big ol' exclamation mark on the screen, cast your ultimate, and make sure that it's within your bubble. So when you absorb Iron Man's ultimate, you don't need to fire back at Iron Man because he's far away. Fire back at the support heroes. This is what I do in all my competitive matches when I play as Magneto, is when I'm fighting against an enemy Iron Man or Star-Lord, I let them ult, and then I absorb that ult, and then whatever damage I absorb from that, I chuck it right at their support heroes, because oftentimes they're close by me and they're within my range where I could just fire it off, and I would have an almost guaranteed chance that I'll land my hit and they'll die immediately, because I've trained my eye to track their movements a lot better and more often compared to me tracking like a tank hero's movement. Because as Magneto, as I mentioned in my advanced guide, you're basically built to be a bully, but you should bully against support heroes and DPS heroes, but mainly support heroes. Tanks only if you absolutely need to get them off your line of sight, or if they're harassing your teammates way too much. Then by all means, pressure them away. But more often than not, your main focus is to just bully the enemy support heroes so that they can't heal their teammates, because they're always getting pressured by you. And especially when you cast your ult at them, that's almost a guaranteed chance that you can definitely take them off the bench for 10 seconds or more before you have to see them again in a team fight. So this is what I do as Magneto in the practice range. Now, if I want to take it one step further to really kind of hone in on my practice and my aim training as Magneto, then after I spend about 20 minutes in the training area, I would then do a custom match where I just go against bots. The only reason why I do this is because instead of me doing just a random lobby of AI with other teammates, I do a custom match with just me, because then it'll force me to really practice my own aim. And two, you're going against bot heroes so that you can practice just a little bit more, just like 1 or 2 games of just pressuring the enemy support heroes or DPS heroes and track their movements. So you can like test and see how well and how often you're landing your shots against AI before you do the real thing, because AI movements is the exact same speed as regular players you fight in a competitive rank match. They just moved in a somewhat predictable way, but you're training your muscle memory and your eyesight now against AI, and if you can assess and see from the scoreboard that your accuracy is in good standing as Magneto, which often that probably be around the 40 percentile on up, then that's good for a Magneto player, because like I said, you're not going to land all your shots every time. You're still going to whiff from time to time, but if you can consistently land your shots a lot better and you see that you're getting 40% accuracy or higher in all your shots as Magneto, then that your training paid off and you're ready to go and you're warmed up for competitive rank matches. Whereas a lot of beginner Magneto players, they'll probably see their accuracy being like the 20 percentile or the 30 percentile because they're not as affluent at tracking their enemies' movements compared to a really good Magneto player. And that's kind of what that's one of the skill sets that separates a basic Magneto player from a pro level Magneto player, is their accuracy. Because like I said, Magneto has a lot of projectile based moves, so you have to learn your shots with intention. It'll almost become second nature of like when and how far you need to land your shots, depending on how far or how close the enemy is. And you'll also know that, hey, if an enemy is just way too far away, don't worry about landing your shot unless you have a mag cannon ready, because you can definitely poke someone far away with a mag cannon, but you just need to lead your cursor a lot farther away due to the travel time. But close to mid-range combat, it's all about learning to lead your cursor with Magneto. So that's all I have for today's guide video for you guys on how I practice with Magneto before I jump into competitive rank matches. If you have any other questions about how to improve your aim training with Magneto, leave it down in the comments below and I'll definitely answer them every time I check my channel for any new comments that comes my way. If you like these type of guide videos, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It definitely helps me out with the YouTube algorithm to push these videos out to other people who are learning to play Magneto in Marvel Rivals and just improve their own overall gameplay. So I thank you guys for taking time to watch today's video. This is Mikerotastraphy, and I'll catch you guys later.